class. Today we're going to be looking at our 1.3 Day 2 notes for AP Stats. We're going to be summarizing quantitative data. We'll also be looking at box plots, how to get our box plots on our calculators, and how to find outliers by hand. So the first thing, again, I want to let you know that there's another video on our calendar that kind of goes through most of the notes. But on the calendar video, we use Desmos because it was for a different class. And for AP Stats, we really need to make sure that we're using this graphing calculator. So I'm going to go through just the calculator pieces of how to find the box plot. So we're going to start with this example 2 from our notes. And we're going to put those numbers into the list. Now I know they're decimals, so it takes a little longer, it takes a couple extra minutes, but that's all right. So to get our numbers into the list again, we do stat. And then the first one, you hit the edit button or enter. And I've already pre-populated my numbers into my list. Before you pause the video to put those in, I want to show you how to clear a list if you already have numbers in there. So I'm going to go over to, I'm going to clear my L2 because I don't want to clear my L1. If you go to your list and you hit the up arrow so that the name of the list is highlighted, hit the clear button and hit enter, and it'll clear that whole list all at once for you, so you don't have to delete each individual number. All right, so pause the video, put all the numbers in here now. All right, and then before we get to do anything else, if you notice on our notes, there's this little summation piece here that, and I forgot to go over this in the last lesson, this is here to help us check to make sure we typed in all of our numbers correctly on our calculator. So I'm going to show you how to use that before we get to our box plot. So to get that summation of all your numbers here on your list, you're going to go to Stat, go over to Calc, so hit the arrow button over to Calc, and then hit Enter for this first one var or one variable stats. Now my numbers are in list 1, L1. If you needed to change that, you can also do second and then whatever number you want. Like I could change it to L2 if I wanted, but I don't want to. So I'm going to put it back. Oops. And then apparently we need to do it one at a time. So there we go. L1. Then go down. We don't need frequency lists. That's for probability distributions. We'll get to those later. And then just go down to calculate. And if you notice, the second piece here is your summation. You're going to want to make sure that that number exactly matches the number from our notes. So if it doesn't, unfortunately, you need to go back through your list, figure out where you made your error and fix it before you do anything else. So now to get our box plots, we're going to go into our stat plots. So second and y equals will get us to our stat plots. You want to press enter to go into plot 1, or you could use a different plot if you want. But later on in the course, we're going to be using these different plots for different things. Like our plot 2 is going to be our residual plot when we get to scatter plots. So we're just going to, I usually just keep changing plot 1 right now. So make sure it's on, go down to type, and then go over to box plots. Now there are 2 box plot options. There's one with 2 little dots and one without 2 little dots. So the one with the 2 little dots is what we call a modified box plot. And that's actually going to show us outliers if we have any. So I always use this one unless for some reason it tells me to use a skeletal box plot, which is the one without the outliers. I like seeing my outliers. So I'm going to choose this one, hit enter to make it highlighted. X list, this is where my numbers are, and frequency 1 is fine. So now I'm going to graph it. And if you notice, nothing showed up. So magic button, zoom. And then the 9th one is zoom stat, press 9 or scroll down and select it. And magically my thing will appear. So we have our box plot now. I can actually see that there are 3 outliers here. Also, magic button is the trace button. We used this on the histograms as well. We can use it here. It's super nice. If I hit trace, it'll give me my 5-number summary, which is my minimum, my Q1 or my first quartile, my median, my Q3 or third quartile, and then this says X. Notice it doesn't say max. Here it said min X, and this does not say max because it's not our max. This one is our max. So if we have outliers, our modified box plot The whisker part will end at the highest non-outlier data value. So that's what this X value is. And then we can see each one of our outliers here. So when you draw this in your notes, a couple things, make sure it always helps to have a number line so that things are spaced out correctly, although you don't have to have a number line. If you choose not to, or even if you choose to, I like to write the numbers that like above each piece. So above the minimum, I would write 4.12, and above this, I would write 4.31. It makes it really easy for your grader to grade your problem. And then always make sure you label or title your, horizontal axis for your graph with the context of the problem. So for this problem, it was pH level of water collected from rain and snow in Tahoe City. Kind of a mouthful, but the more information you can give, the better in AP Stats. You want to make sure you're thorough. So make sure that's labeled. Now, that is, let me look at my notes. I mean, that's pretty much all we need to create a box plot. In my other video, I also go over how to calculate these outliers by hand. I just want to make sure you know that you have to show the calculations for the outliers. You can't just put it there. You will lose points on the AP exam if you don't show your calculations for the outliers. So make sure to watch the other video on my calendar where I go over how to do that. And I think that just about covers it for this lesson.